Hello and welcome back to NJCDC's The Loft. Today we're sitting back here in the studio with Compete for Life. Brian Miranda back in the studio. I'll send it off to you. Hello, Brian.
What's going on, everyone? My name is Brian Miranda. Thank you so much for the lovely introduction, Danny.
There you go.
I have two of my Compete for Life students. I have Steven and
Hello.
I have Imani.
Hi.
How are you guys doing today?
Doing fantastic.
Wow.
Pretty good.
Nice.
Let's go.
So glad that you guys have agreed to come and do the podcast. I also want to give a special shout out to our special character, our secret character, Kayla Wimberly as well. She's also observing
But
us.
she's there. She's behind the camera, but she's here.
Yeah. She's the woman behind the camera. So, but we're just here, want to have a little conversation with y'all. Today's topic is a little bit lighthearted. We're going to be talking about movies, comic books, video games, and anywhere else that the conversation may lead us to. So I'm just going to go ahead and kind of start it off. You know, this for the past couple of years, I want to say for like maybe the past 20 years or so, it feels like cinema has been really like influenced by comic books, right? But before we even get there, I want to ask you guys a question. And Danny, obviously you can jump in at any time, because I guess this question applies to you too.
Mm-hmm.
But more so, I want to ask Steven and Imani, what movie do you guys remember seeing for the first time in a movie theater?
The only like movie I could think about is like Infinity War, because that was like the biggest movie when it came out.
Okay.
Other than that, I can't really think of anything else.
I could say probably like going deep into my memory,
Yes.
SpongeBob Out of Water.
Oh, no.
Oh my god, I watched SpongeBob Out of
Yeah,
Water.
that's like when I go deep into my memory, that's the first thing that pops up.
Nice. That is, Danny, what about you?
Is that you said the first movie or
Like,
the last?
The first movie that you can think about that you saw in the theater for the first time ever.
I don't know. Yo, you know what? It might have. I don't think it probably wasn't. This was the actual first one. But what I remember being the first, in my mind, is Kung Fu Panda.
Oh, yeah.
Yo.
Kung Fu Panda is a good one.
Yo.
Didn't we see Kung Fu Panda most recently?
Yeah, we saw 4, I think. Yeah.
Was it good?
Yeah, it was good. It wasn't as good.
I liked it.
Yeah, it wasn't as good as the other ones,
Yeah.
but I would say it was so good. It's so good.
I think for me, the first movie that I'm older than you guys, but the movie that I remember watching in theaters for the first time ever was Lion King. I remember, yeah, I know, right?
It's like the early 2000s.
Wow.
Yeah, no, that's like early 90s, guys. Like I think the first Lion King movie came out in 93 or 94. I was like 2 years old because I was born in 91.
Do you remember that?
Yeah,
Yo, you
I do,
got,
yeah.
you got an immaculate memory.
That's how good that movie was.
Yeah.
Like, that movie was so good. It was like embedded in my head. So, but yeah, like Lion King 93, the animated movie. I remember seeing it in the theater with my parents. I was probably like in diapers. And I just remember just being really taken aback by like the scenes that was going on with like Mufasa and Scar and how Scar like dropped him at the end and stuff like that. So, but going back to your favorite movie, Steven, Infinity War.
Oh, my favorite movie.
Yeah.
No, you asked me like what was the first movie.
No. I'm
We're
saying
talking about my favorite movie.
Yeah,
Oh my
what's
God,
your
Guardians
favorite
of the
movie?
Galaxy.
Oh, Guardians of the Galaxy. Okay. What about you, Imani?
I would have to say it's more of like a franchise, The Conjuring.
Oh,
Like all of the movies that have to do with that. I'm a really big horror fan.
That's actually very appropriate since we're in Halloween time right now. So that's cool. The Conjuring. Which one was your favorite? How many Conjuring movies are there?
There's a few. Like there's The Conjuring 1, The Conjuring 2. Pretty sure there's a Conjuring 3. And then The Nun, Annabelle.
Annabelle Comes Home.
Yeah.
Are those all part of the same
They're
franchise?
all part
Like,
of the same
You-
franchise.
And when it's like really understanding, you have to watch them in order.
Right.
So
they're all
there's a
connected?
bunch-
Yeah.
there's
the
a
Conjuring
bunch of
Cinematic
movies.
Universe? Okay.
yeah, basically.
Is that
Yeah.
the one with the Warrens?
Mhm.
It is, right? Okay,
Yeah.
okay, right. That's that family that is always going on like paranormal
Mhm.
stuff. Right. Gotcha.
It's more like the couple. The family part was probably like only the first movie.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
it was.
Gotcha. I think I only seen the first Conjuring. I think I kind of fell off after the first Conjuring because, not saying that horror is not one of my favorite genres, because it is, but for whatever reason, The Conjuring was just one of those movies that I missed. So, but that's an interesting question. So, Imani, you're saying that your favorite type of movie is horror? Like that's your
Yeah.
favorite of all time?
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Steven?
My favorite type of movie?
Yeah.
Well, whatever you consider Guardians of the Galaxy.
So it's like a comic book movie.
Yes,
kinda.
Carter.
Okay.
Like, I'd say comic book.
Yeah. Okay. Steven, I'm sorry. Danny, what about you?
like genre, favorite genre?
Yeah, your favorite genre.
I
of
think,
movie.
well, here's the thing. I'm a newbie when it comes to the horror genre. Like I've watched a few of the Saw movies. I think I saw up to Saw 3.
Saw's a good franchise.
I love Saw. I've seen like all the movies. I remember I came upstairs from my room. My dad was just watching. I was like, "What are you watching?" He was like, "Oh, I'm watching Saw." And I sat down and I was like, "Why is this actually like really interesting?" Last time I remember, it was just like a gore fest.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But then I rewatched it and it was actually like really, really interesting. Like, I don't know, the story itself.
Yeah.
And stuff.
I was squirming like the entire time with all those movies. I was like, ah. But I think like the most recent, it's not. This is it is my favorite genre because I'm new to it.
Right.
But I think the last horror movie I actually saw was like Five Nights at Freddy's.
Is that a horror movie?
I guess so. I mean, it
That
says
is a horror movie.
It is.
The
Yeah.
tag,
Okay.
the
I
tag
never.
says horror.
You know what's crazy? I never played the games, so I don't really
No.
know.
I mean, like, I don't know. You don't really have to play the games because some people say it's based off the book. Some people say it's
Oh, there's a
based off,
book.
Like,
Oh, there are a lot of
games.
books.
Okay.
There's a lot of books, and I'm pretty sure they're all written by like the creator of FNAF.
The same
as
guy.
well.
Yeah.
Right.
But as far as like, so like I enjoyed that movie, but that's only because like I'm a fan of the franchise, like the games, and like so like it kind of, I don't think that makes me a horror fan per se. But I saw a lot of comic book movies. Like I've watched like most of up to like Endgame era, like the like Marvel movies, you know.
Yeah, usually when it came to Endgame, that's like when people kind of just said, "Oh, Marvel fell off," and
Yeah.
people just stopped
Right.
watching Marvel movies.
I'm kind of in that. I'm kind of in that
I would
category.
assume you
Yeah.
are because you guys are like a lot older.
Yeah,
but for
yeah,
me,
yeah.
I can't say I like certain movies. Like I like Thor: Love and Thunder. Now, if
I
I,
like
say
I like
that,
I like that movie.
Yeah. That
people
movie's
would
good.
like come after me saying, "But that movie was like so not good."
Right.
It's like
It's like a guilty pleasure kind of thing for me. But I liked it though. But that's interesting though. I kind of wanna ask Imani a question though. So you're saying, I want to ask you, what about horror movies do you like? Like, for example, like, do you like horror movies because some of them are like really gory? Do you like horror movies because of the story that they present? Like some horror movies are about ghosts, others are about zombies. Like what is it about a horror movie that really brings you into it?
I would say for me, a main factor is because I grew up watching them.
Oh wow.
Like my
Great.
dad was a big horror fan, and then like my uncles that I was around
Right.
were also big horror fans, so I just like grew up watching it.
Nice.
But when I got older, it was more of like the psychological level of it.
Nice.
Because when I watch a movie, I go deep into the movie.
Right,
Like
right.
I rewind a bunch to like really pay attention to certain parts.
That's amazing.
So I would say probably the story that most of them tell.
Right.
That's why I'm really big into The Conjuring, because
Gotcha.
you have to watch all of them to really understand it.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I would say that.
Okay.
Definitely.
That's actually a great answer. Because like, yeah, you're right. Because for me, it's usually like I'm more so when it comes to horror. I really like horror too.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I find myself attracted more to like horror movies that are more story based than they are with like gore. So like my favorite horror movie, and maybe you've seen it, is called The Shining.
Yeah.
So but that movie, like when you see it there are some elements of it that I guess can be considered body horror,
Yeah.
right? But really the real horror of that movie is like what's happening psychologically to the main character, right? So I definitely get where you're coming from that. So that's
didn't that movie get like a sequel, Doctor Sleep?
yeah,
It takes place after that, doesn't it? Isn't it, like the
Yes.
same kid?
Yes, which is also a great movie too. I really like Dr. Sleep. Pardon the pun, but don't sleep on Dr. Sleep
Yeah.
because that movie is really dope.
Yeah, start
But-
talking about Stephen King books.
yeah. Stephen King. So have you guys seen it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of
Yeah,
course
yeah.
I've seen it.
So what did you guys think about that movie?
I-
Wait, which it did you see?
All right. Well, I saw the new one, obviously.
Okay.
I thought about watching the original movie.
Yeah.
Because my mom says, "Oh, that one scared me more like than the newer one."
Right. Which is
But
interesting, right?
That one's like what, 3 hours long?
I don't know how long the original is, the first one, but I know it's like the book that it's based off of is as thick as like the Bible. So it's a pretty thick book. Yeah. But interestingly enough, I haven't seen It Chapter 2. Have you guys seen it?
Oh, I've seen it.
Is it good?
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Is it a good follow up? Because that's kind of what I've been hearing, that it's just like that it's not as good as the first one.
I wouldn't say that it's as good as the first one
No.
either, honestly, but it is pretty good because it shows like how their life started after all of that.
Right.
So like it's them grown up.
Right.
So I really do like that aspect of it.
Gotcha. Have any of you guys by any chance read the book? No.
I've seen too many things to read the book.
Yeah. I guess at this point it would be like, why read the book when the movie's kind of like spoiled everything for you, right? So, Danny, what about you? Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it. I mean, of course, I know of it in all of like the main kind of culturally significant, moments from it, like the what's that called? Like the paper boat going down to the sewer drain and stuff,
Right.
and like
Georgie boy.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Him just like under there, and then like I've seen a few clips of the newer movies, and it's also some of the older too. But like was his Bill Hader?
Yeah.
Right? I think he was in the movie. He's just
Yeah.
like getting like about to throw a brick or something. He
And
gets
then-
hypnotized,
and
just
then-
like
Yeah.
goes all
Yeah.
limp. I'm like, all right, that's
See, like scenes like that, even though it's not gory, it like disturbs me, right? Like it does freak me out a little bit because I'm just like, oh, like that's, what I like about movies is just like movies to me, they always show me, the reason why I watch movies is because I feel like they show me something that I've never quite seen before, like in real life. You know what I mean? So
I've always, every time I watch a movie or play a game, I always hope that I kind of just connect to the characters and the story. Like how she says that she's like really into the story. I
Yeah.
want to like feel like I'm part of it or something like that.
So let me ask you a question, Steven. Of all the comic book movies that you've seen, and I know we were kind of speaking a little bit about it on our way up here, but of all the comic book movies that you've seen, which I assume is probably a lot, which character in those movies do you most identify with? Like which character, maybe not identify with, but which character do you endear yourself most with?
I love Star-Lord.
You do.
He's like my most favorite character out of all the
I can
movies.
see that. Yeah. I can
He's
see
like the
that.
most character I look forward to, and to be honest, and
Really?
because of him, I started listening to like more 80s music, more retro.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, because all those movies had the soundtracks were really
Like he could be like a really funny character,
Right.
but then there are times like Volume 3. Well, that's more based on Rocket, but like Volume
Right.
2, it talks about his dad,
right,
his
right.
mom, and he brings up how he put a tumor in his mom's head.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That was a wild movie when
Like
I
it
think
could
about
get
it.
serious when it needs to be, I guess.
Right. Interesting. What about you, Imani? I know probably comic book movies aren't maybe your forte, but do you have a favorite comic book movie that you can kind of think about, relate to? Because there is a comic book movie for me that's also kind of like horror.
Yeah.
So are you waiting for us to ask you that question?
No. I just want to see if maybe Imani is gonna say it, because if she doesn't, I got to give her a high five.
I don't think I'll be able to say it.
No.
Because I can't think of any.
Okay.
Because I don't really watch those type of movies that often.
Gotcha.
But I would probably say the only movie that comes to my mind is Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guys, that's so
Yeah.
interesting. Wow. It's so interesting to me because when I was growing up, the Marvel characters that were always like the most popular were like, the usual suspects like Spider-Man, X-Men, even Iron Man and the Hulk. I didn't really learn about the Guardians of the Galaxy until their movies came out. Yeah.
Right? I didn't even know they existed.
Exactly. Me neither. Like I didn't know that they were as big players in the Marvel universe as they were. Right. Like I had no idea until the movies came out, which is interesting. So
I mean, Iron Man wasn't really that popular of a character until the.
no.
Literally, I feel like I remember seeing videos and stuff saying, "Oh, the Avengers weren't even that big of a group," in
They
like, the
weren't, which
MCU.
is crazy.
And then
yeah.
the MCU came around. Then they got movies. People watched those movies. Age of Ultron, when that
Right.
came out, everybody watched that movie.
Right. You know what's crazy too? Back to kind of Danny's point about like Iron Man. Even though you're right, like Iron Man wasn't big really when we were growing up, I guess. But even so, in comparison to like Guardians of the Galaxy, Iron Man at the very least, like when I was younger, I used to collect a lot of action figures. So when I would go to like Toys R Us or KB Toys or whatever, I know I'm dating myself right here, but when I would go to these stores, I would at the very least see Iron Man action figures. What I wouldn't see action figures of is
Guardians of the
Star-Lord. Yeah,
Galaxy.
I would never see Groot. I would never see Rocket Raccoon.
They just
Gamora,
like, weren't
I would
as
never
popular
see,
as
yeah.
Avengers. They were like there.
Yeah, I mean
But-
they're the outer space Avengers pretty
Yeah,
much.
basically. But like the only I hear people say that their favorite movie of Guardians of the Galaxy was Volume 2.
Which to me is just like how.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't think that's. I
Really?
feel like the first one was better than the second one.
A lot. I don't know. From
I
what
like the
I've
third
heard,
one.
a lot of
The third one
people
was good.
like
Mm.
the second movie a lot more than the first one.
Yeah. Which of the three is your favorite? Is it the second one?
I can't really say. They're all like equal in
Near
my
and dear to
favorite.
You don't want to get political in here now, you know?
Whoa, I can't get jumped out to this.
Yeah.
But if I had to say, it's volume 3.
Volume,
There you go. Yeah, volume
Volume
3.
3. Mostly because the ending it says legendary Star-Lord will
Will
return,
return. Yeah.
and that's my favorite character.
I wanted to kind of going back to what I was talking to with Imani about like horror and comic book movies. And maybe you've seen it, maybe you haven't, but one of the movies that I feel is like a perfect mix of the two genres, comic book and horror. And I'm hoping Steven and Danny know of this character, but have you ever seen Blade?
I thought you were gonna mention Spawn.
It's not coming to my
Spawn
mind.
is good too. Okay, well, Blade. Have you guys seen the new Wolverine and Deadpool movie?
Yeah.
Yes.
I haven't been able to see it, but I have seen the Blade movies at least. I remember them faintly.
Yeah,
as a
yeah.
Vampire Hunter.
Yes. So, Imani, if you ever have the time, check out this movie called Blade. Check out the first one in particular. Check out the first one so that you know what's going on in the second movie, because the second movie is the one that's like more horror based than all the other ones. But Blade, I think, is a good character that really embodies both genres.
No, I think that was before like Marvel Studios and whatever was like a big thing.
Yes.
So like Blade was a Marvel movie, I think.
Yes,
but
it
it
is.
wasn't like how Spider-Man Tobey Maguire is a Marvel movie, but it's not like they can't get taken down or whatever or
Right.
get sued because that was just before the MCU existed.
A lot of credit to the MCU as what it is today goes back to Blade, really, because Blade is one of the first mainstream movies that came out before the MCU, but it was still like a Marvel property. So, and it was very successful when it came out. Like, it was a big blockbuster movie. And so when Blade came out, when that whole franchise came out, that's when like these big studios realized that they were like, oh, comic book movies can actually be really profitable if we treat them as like the art that they actually are. So
They stopped doing that.
Yeah,
Was that before Spider-Man, like Tobey Spider-Man?
it was.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Blade was before Tobey's Spider-Man. So
Yeah. So I guess it was even crazier when.
yeah, when you could say that there would not have been Tobey's Spider-Man without the foundations that Wesley Snipes' Blade put there first. So it is, so, you know, and obviously I think people will have differing opinions about this, but I would say from what I can tell, Blade was like that first movie, that first mainstream comic book movie that really alerted all the studios that were just like, oh, comic book movies can really be profitable. Yeah. So
I have a question.
yes.
You guys brought up Saw, and I kind of wanted to bring it up like 15 minutes ago.
Go ahead.
So, what kind of movies have you guys seen about Saw? Like, how many movies?
Only seen the first 3.
The first 3.
I've seen part 1, part 2, then I fell off, and then I saw the spin-off Spiral. Did you guys see Spiral?
I saw Spiral.
I didn't see
I thought it
Spiral.
was
Yeah.
pretty
Did you
good.
see Spiral, Imani? No. Have you seen Saw? You've seen Saw.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which ones?
1, 2, 3.
So
And
it's
then
like,
I like
is that like the
Saw.
first 3 movies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like I wanted to bring up this topic, how people said that like, the first 3 movies I guess were good, and then like I think 5, 6, and 7, those weren't as good as the original because they weren't even traps. They were kind of more like trials. But they don't remember that the killer in the movies, John Kramer, he died in like the 3rd movie.
Yeah, something like that.
And then like a new person took over.
Yeah, I think
So
someone
it
like
wasn't
Amanda or
his
something
traps;
like
it was
that.
someone else's traps.
Yeah. That's where like that's kind of the thing that I like and dislike about horror movies, because sometimes it feels like, I feel like Saw, when the first Saw came out, it was such like a different movie to what was already out there, kind of, sort of. And then, you know, the studio saw that it was really profitable because it was so different, right? But then
They kind of just kept going off of that.
yeah, like they just kind
And
of
they
kept
start
doing
like
it.
losing what the original plot
Yeah,
even was.
yeah. And after a while, I liked the first Saw because of the story, right? But then as the series continued, it felt like they were just more so relying on like the gory aspects of the movie.
I could agree with you right there because
Yeah.
it only got like more unnecessarily gory after
Yeah,
that. The
yeah.
first 3 movies were like John Kramer was still the killer.
Right.
And when Saw X came out,
Yes.
how people said, "Oh, this movie's actually really good," because
Which it was.
it takes
Yeah.
place between 1 and 2. It's
Right.
not like a
Right.
a movie that happens after all of that.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, like that's kind of like, I guess going back to Imani's point, it's just, yeah, like when it comes to horror movies, although I do appreciate a good amount of gore
Yeah.
in my movies,
Yeah.
that's not particularly why I'm there to watch the movie. I'm more so there for the story. Like I think one of my favorite genres might be like ghost stories
Paranormal?
in horror. Yeah.
Mhm.
Like Paranormal Activity.
I was gonna admit, I was like, so
scared
did you
me.
watch Paranormal Activity then?
Yeah.
I
Paranormal
heard that
Activity.
movie was pretty good.
It was really good. I remember when it came out, I saw it in the theaters. Did you guys by any chance see it in the theaters by
Not
any
in the
chance?
I was
No?
not allowed to watch horror movies.
Did you see? Have you seen it though?
Yeah.
Okay. When you saw it, where were you? Like, were you alone in your room? Were you with someone?
When I seen it, I think I was with my uncle.
You're with your uncle.
Yeah, I can't watch a horror movie alone.
No, you
I'm
can't.
not gonna
But it's your
lie.
favorite genre.
It is, but I can't watch it alone 'cause
Like
I'll get
usually, it's like you
nightmares.
could enjoy a horror movie, but if you're alone and it's like night, you're
Oh,
not
no.
you're not
Exactly.
sleeping.
No.
Yeah.
I remember I watched that was like that movie Smile that a lot of people said wasn't really good. I watched it.
I really like the
I
movie.
could sleep.
Yeah.
My dad, no, he
He
Yeah.
didn't sleep that night.
Smiles are. What are some of the new? And I'll pose this question to Imani since this is her favorite genre.
Mhm.
What are some of the newer horror movies that you've seen aside from The Conjuring that you were really like, this has the potential for me to be as good as The Conjuring?
Maybe Terrifier.
Oh wow.
Oh.
I know
That's so
that's a
crazy
topic.
because you're just
that's like a
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, that sounds like a massive jump from.
I
Conjuring.
don't know, but it's like
so
Terrible.
I know it's kind of
I-
crazy.
you know what's crazy? Not that it's crazy. I've not seen any of the Terrifier movies, but aren't they like really gory though?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
It's
because
kinda
I
crazy.
remember like hearing about people watching Terrifier 2 and apparently they couldn't even finish it because of how
Yeah.
gory it was.
Yeah, I keep hearing that
I've
people
seen
were like
clips of it.
puking in the
I'm like,
theaters.
is this even
Oh,
real?
what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Have
no.
you heard of these movies?
I've heard of Terrifier before.
Yeah.
I never watched it, but
Aren't they
I'm kind of
making a
glad
new
now.
one?
Like, yeah, what?
That's gonna like
yeah, the
come
third
out?
one. The third one's coming out if it hasn't come out already.
Terrifier 2 is pretty new. I
Yeah.
feel
It's kind of recent.
Yeah.
I'd say like
Terrifier is like a
2021.
newer
Mhm.
franchise that's come out most recently. But that's interesting that Imani said that because
Yeah.
in the beginning of the conversation, she's like, "I'm into the story, but
but
I'm gonna
like-
pick the
I
most
do
goriest
like
movie."
a lot of gore.
Yeah,
when
yeah.
it comes to that movie, I feel like it's not necessarily gore because, like I said, I'm more into the
It's
story.
like a slasher.
Yeah.
Mm,
With that, I feel like I'm more interested in the killer's story, like why
I
he
see.
started doing what he did.
nice.
So
Okay,
in
so you
some-
like that perspective?
Yeah, in some of like some moments in the movies, it shows his like background and like
Right.
why he's doing what he's doing.
Right.
So I pay more attention to that
Gotcha.
rather than the gore.
Gotcha. Have you seen like any of the newer Halloween movies where they like kind of pay attention to like you guys know Mike Myers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of
I heard
course.
that those don't really like the newer movies don't make any. I don't know if they make any sense because like there's like at least more than 10 movies of Halloween.
Mhm.
So that's the other thing that about horror movies too, like the continuity in the movies.
At
Sometimes
some point, they kind of like
it's a little weird.
like with Saw and stuff.
Yeah.
They kind of just start losing the plot.
yeah,
along the way.
yeah, like sometimes with horror movies they'll like release a movie and it'll be like part 2 of a movie, but then they'll be like, oh, actually this is a prequel to the first movie that came
Mhm.
out, but it's the more recent
Then they'll
movie
say
that came
part
out.
3, and like actually this takes place 20
Yeah,
years after.
right.
These movies
Right.
came out.
So sometimes the continuity in these movies is kind of hard to like keep up with. But at the
Yeah.
same time, I like it. Like it's fun for
I
me
guess
to like
that's why
sometimes
Conjuring
put it
is
on
really
the,
good.
Yeah,
I was about to say.
I don't know, you kind of know when like they take place.
right,
Like they all give you like a certain date or time, I guess.
Yeah.
right.
That's so interesting to me, The Conjuring, like because you have like 10 Halloween movies, but like The Conjuring is more than just The Conjuring. Because I had no idea
Mhm.
The Conjuring had anything to do with like Annabelle. You know what I mean? So like I'm like, when's The Conjuring like Avengers happening? Like that's what I'm thinking right now. You know what I mean? But all the where Chucky's gonna be hanging out with Annabelle or just, I don't know, Chucky, Conjuring. I don't even know at this point.
Yeah, I mean, Chucky,
I guess it's because like
Yeah.
Conjuring was based on like true stories,
Mhm.
right?
so that's why they're able to like keep it in a
Oh,
steady pace.
okay.
Because it's like an actual story, but like like Halloween,
Right, right.
Friday the 13th. They're all fictional.
Tell me, have you guys seen the Amityville Horror?
Mm-mm.
No. I was wondering if The Conjuring had anything to do with that, because if I remember correctly, I think Amityville Horror has to do with the Warrens, as like that being like one of their cases that they worked on, but I could be
I mean,
completely
maybe it
wrong.
was.
Yeah, it could be
Because
completely
I'm
wrong
pretty
about
sure the
that.
Conjuring movies are kind of just based on like the more bigger things that happened.
Right. Interesting. But wow. But that's really Imani kind of threw me for a loop there with the Terrifier reveal right there. That's kind of like up there with her with The Conjuring. So, is there any other movie that you would that you can see to be up there with those two movies?
Not really, no.
No. Okay.
I thought about like when we talked about how horror movies just start losing their plot. I thought about Scream, because the first two movies, I think those were like really good. Because like the first movie is usually like the best, and like you said, they like, wait, this is actually making us a lot of money,
right?
So they continue with the second movie, which is, I guess, kind of like just as good, and then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
right? Yeah,
it kind of just becomes like I wonder who the murderer is,
right?
And that's just kind of like what the whole point of Scream at this point is. But I still enjoy the movies.
It's hard, I guess, like when something becomes a franchise, which is interesting that I guess The Conjuring's been able to do it, but when I feel like when movies become franchises like that, it becomes increasingly harder to make each movie be different and fresh from the movie that came right before it. But to The Conjuring's credit, but again, to what Stevens was saying about The Conjuring is that a lot of those movies are based off of real life events that actually happen.
So that's how they're able to keep the pace of the story, and that's why everything feels fresh and new, because they are literally like
they're new, like they are things that actually happen. Right.
With movies like Scream, you don't know what to do, because if you keep the same plot, people would probably just say the plot got stale or got boring. People would stop watching it, flop at the box office. Right.
So, and I think there's a new Scream movie coming out too that was announced.
So. Yeah, I'm probably still gonna watch
with Neve Campbell. Yeah, which is great because that's like a throwback to the first Scream movies that I grew up watching. But interestingly enough, kind of want to segue into another topic, because we were talking about Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, let's go.
That Danny brought up. So I did want to ask you guys, and I know maybe you guys have an answer for this, maybe you don't, which is completely fine. But is there a movie out there that's based off of a video game that you guys enjoy? Which is a tough question, because historically speaking, movies that are based off of video games, it's only recently that they started doing well at the movies, because typically they don't do well.
I don't know if you could consider Ready Player One. Not really. It's kind of just like they're in the background.
I'll allow it. Yeah, I'll allow it.
You could allow it.
Yeah,
but if I had to say, it's gonna be Super Mario Brothers movie.
Super Mario Brothers movie was mad cute.
Yeah.
Everybody won.
Peaches.
You can't say that movie was pretty. Like
yeah. It was a good movie. I like that movie.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now, when Sonic the Hedgehog came out and it was good, I was like doing laps, man. I was punching the air. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, because no, like in a good way. No, it's in a good way, because like the last movie that was based off of a video game. Well, the Super Mario Brothers, the original Super Mario Brothers movie.
It wasn't like live action.
It was live action, and it was terrible. I remember watching it. I'm like, what is going on right now?
I really enjoy that movie. Okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Brian. Brian, listen.
You're hurting his feelings,
I'm
man.
not, yeah, I'm not gonna stand for any slander.
Listen, man. There was a Goomba in a suit. Okay, you saw that? That thing was supposed to be a Goomba in a suit, and he looked like a dinosaur.
Something tells me he really wanted to bring this up.
Yeah, I know.
No. But, I mean, the new Super Mario Brother movie, like the animated one, that's fire. That was great.
Yeah.
It was an original story, and I still don't know how they managed to like get all of them. And the ending credits, the credits music that they played, they just played Mario Galaxy, Mario Sunshine, the original game and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be good, like when the next movie comes out. But
are you guys at all interested in watching the new Minecraft movie that's coming out?
Listen, I feel like I have to watch it, because
I feel like I'm gonna watch it and enjoy it, and I'm never gonna tell anybody that.
Like it's gonna be like a guilty pleasure kind of thing.
I think so too.
Yeah,
it's like a like an ugly baby. You know what I mean? It's just
An
it's
ugly
just,
baby.
like only like you're its mother and you love it, but it's like like I guess
face only a mother could love.
Right,
yeah.
right.
But you know what
It's
though?
like, hey
Like
kid, you got a face for radio.
yeah, but they literally casted Jack Black to be Jack Black in that movie, which I love Jack Black, so I'll take it. I said I mentioned Kung Fu Panda earlier.
To
you know
be
what I mean?
honest,
Right.
when
So-
he said Jack Black is Steve, I'm not sure how to go with that, but I could see it for some reason. Because
Right.
I don't think Steve would be a sane person if he spends that much time alone, you know?
I don't know that much about Minecraft for me to like have an opinion on it.
There's no
Like,
real story.
There's not really a story.
Like, how do you make a movie out of that?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
I don't know.
Like,
Well, I
right.
think they have some semblance of a story, but it's an open game. You know what I mean?
It's
Right.
a
like-
sandbox game.
Yeah. So it's not. So it's strange, you know. And apparently, like they had an interview. I think the director had an interview where he said that a lot of people have made a lot of animated Minecraft stuff, which is like a good animated Minecraft stuff, and they wanted to do something that people haven't seen yet, which is why they went with live action, right?
Right. Right.
Which is like, yeah, I guess, but like it looks kind of, you know,
It looks off.
Yeah, it
looks
does
like
look off.
like a mod that would be in mine.
yeah,
Right. And I'm just like, and then like I'm only basing it off the trailer, but I'm just like, Jack Black just shows up, and I'm just like, Jack Black doesn't even look like he read his lines for this movie.
Yeah.
Like, I think he's just making it up on the spot.
Yo,
like,
but honestly, I kind of love that because I love Jack
Yeah.
Black, and he can improv pretty
yeah,
well.
for sure.
You know, talking about video game movies, what did you guys think about Uncharted?
I liked Uncharted. I don't know,
Okay, thank you.
like I don't like Tom Holland. I think he was a strange pick. You know what I mean? For Nathan, you ever played the Uncharted games?
I never played the games, and I never saw the movie.
You've never played the
yeah.
games?
Yeah. I was more of a Tomb Raider kind of guy.
Yeah, but like it's not like you choose Tomb. It's not like Mario and Sonic and stuff.
You know what it is?
You
I
can
think.
play Tomb Raider and still play Uncharted. He's kind of just
Yeah, I love Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
Kayla, let's go.
Kayla, we forgot about you.
Laura Croft.
Yo,
yes.
we
Yo,
didn't
you're so
forget.
quiet back there. I forgot you were back.
We didn't
there.
forget about her.
Yeah. You love Tomb Raider? Nice.
I've tried playing the games before and I just stopped playing out of nowhere.
You have to.
For me, I've played like Uncharted.
Kayla, you like the games?
Yes.
Yeah.
The games. I think the most recent movie that came out.
Yeah, with Alicia Vikander. Yeah. That movie was actually really good. I did like the movie. Yeah. Not a lot of people liked it though. Like that's why, that's why I don't think they're gonna make another movie about it, which sucks. But I did like
It's
that
like
movie. Yeah.
Uncharted and Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
They're like Uncharted is just like a less serious kind of Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
And that's the most I could say really, because I'm not saying Tomb Raider is a bad game.
It's
I just
not.
prefer Uncharted,
Right,
but I
right.
haven't played Tomb Raider that much myself.
You know what it is? The reason why I've made like that parallel between the two is because when Uncharted came out, when that first game came out, a lot of people, like magazines and like gaming magazines and stuff like that, they were just like, "Oh, this is this generation's Tomb Raider."
The new Tomb Raider.
Yeah, and then not that I played Uncharted. I'm as you guys can probably tell, I'm a big hater right now. But like,
Big hater.
but but when magazines started saying that about Uncharted, I was just like, there can only be one. Like there can
Yo.
only be one
Who do
Tomb
you guys
Raider.
think they are?
Yeah, exactly. I'm just like, I don't want to play as Nathan Drake. I want to play as Laura Croft. Like, get out of here. Like, and then I saw the Laura Croft movie, the Angelina Jolie movies where she plays Laura Croft, and it's just like, there's no comparison. Like, you're not gonna give me Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg in Uncharted for Angelina Jolie. Like, it's just not gonna work. For
When
me,
I saw
right?
Tom Holland as Nathan Drake, I was really quiet. I'm like,
Why would they do
Why?
this? Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yo, because he's
Like,
so.
why?
There was somebody made like a fan film where they had Nathan Fillion.
Nathan Fillion.
there was like a
Nathan
fan
Fillion.
film. He sounded like
Yeah.
Nathan
Yo,
for
he
a few
did.
seconds.
He looked like Nathan Drake. You know what I mean? So I was like, man, that for me that was like the
could've been
perfect.
Nathan
It
Drake.
could have been, but I mean, Tom Holland was good. Like I know, like I enjoyed the movie still.
I say all of this. I still love the movie. It's like
Yeah.
up there with
Yeah,
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
But we could still like the movie and agree that there could have been a better pick for
Yeah.
Nathan Drake, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he's just too young for that. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I
don't
thought
know.
he was gonna be like a young Nathan Drake.
Yo.
Oh, so he plays like fully aged Nathan
He
Drake. I thought too that he was playing like a young Nathan Drake. Like,
that's it's so weird because in the movie, I don't know, when it comes to video game movies from Uncharted, they mixed up like the plots and like events in the games, and they mixed them all up. Like this event happened in 4, and then it was 3, and then it's 1, and it's 2, and they
Yeah.
started mixing up all these big events in the games,
and put it into one movie.
and it kind of just became its own plot. So some people say it wasn't a good Uncharted movie, but it's a good movie, like on its own, I guess.
Gotcha. Which kind of brings me to my next question that I'm going to ask the both of you. And it's more of a kind of like an open-ended question. So I just want to see where your heads are at, right? So as we've been talking today, right, we've been talking about, with the exception to like maybe some of the horror movies that we've touched upon, but a lot of the movies that we've touched upon today are movies that are based off of like some other source material, right? So some of the source material that these movies are based off of are like comic books. Other source materials that these movies are based off are video games, right? Kind of throwing another source material out there that a lot of movies, not a lot of movies, but some movies that have been based off of are like toys. So most recently, over this past summer, we had a movie, I think it was this past summer, or maybe 2 summers ago, we had a movie that was based off Barbie. You know what I mean? Did you guys see the Barbie movie by any chance?
Like Lego movie?
No,
We have the Lego movie too that's also based off toys as well. G.I. Joe. You know, we have these kinds of
It started
movies,
off
right?
as a toy? I thought it was like a comic series.
Was it a comic? I'm pretty sure it was a
feel
toy.
like it was a comic
They were
series.
definitely the toys were popular. Toys were definitely.
I think
really
the toys
popular.
I think Hasbro makes the toy.
Yeah.
Like Transformers is also based off a toy, right? So a lot of these movies that are coming out now, they're based off of something else, right?
Yeah.
Like you can kind of say that these movies aren't quote unquote original. Right. So my question to you guys is, when you see a movie like that that's based off of something else, that's based off another source material, do you find yourself wanting to see that movie more? Or do you prefer movies that are completely original, that don't have any, that is the source material, like that movie? So I want to hear from Imani first, and then we can go to Steven. And then Kayla, if you have anything you want to input.
Before I start speaking like for another 30 minutes.
Yeah. So Imani, go ahead. So the question, just to recap the question,
Yeah.
do you prefer watching movies that are based off of something already,
Or is it just original?
or do you prefer just the original, just something that's super original?
It honestly depends.
Right.
I can't give like a solid answer
And that's
because
fine.
I like both.
Right.
And I don't think I've seen movies that are like 100% original.
That's a good point.
They always have some inspiration
Yeah,
from
like,
like
there's
Like even The
always
Conjuring,
something.
you can
Yeah,
say is
there's always
inspired from real life
something.
events. That's a good point. That's a great point, actually. Yeah. Steven?
Yeah, I feel like I would probably watch something that's based on a source material. Like I'm like don't have a solid answer, but I'm probably leaning more towards that because
Source
most of
material,
the movies
yeah.
I've seen either has source material or it has references to things that I know.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. So like Ready Player One
Yeah.
kind of has
Literally
like
everything.
Right. What's your favorite A24 movie that's come out? So A24, just I don't know if you guys know this, but A24 is a movie studio. And basically I feel like they're really well known now for the simple fact that they come up with movies originally. Like it's very
just original movies.
It's just
straight up.
rare. It's rare for A24 to make a movie that's based off of like some kind of source material.
Mhm.
So, and a lot of their movies are really they're really dope. They're really abstract. The A24 is kind of the reason why I like to go see movies, because those movies kind of show me something that I've not quite seen anywhere else. You know what I mean? Have you guys seen Get Out?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I saw Get Out. It is scary, but at the same time, I don't think I would not that I wouldn't consider it a horror movie per se, but there are elements about it that can definitely scare people.
Yeah.
Because I feel like what they're touching upon in that movie, like, you know, like the subtle racism and stuff like that stuff is scary, but just like on a more
That's
real
scary.
level.
Racism.
Yeah. But on a more real level, because it's just like, you know, who doesn't go through racism? You know what I mean?
Yeah, you want to?
Yeah. Oh, we
So,
got,
like,
we got the special cameo
what
from
was it?
Kayla.
So we were talking about Us, that
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
I feel like if anything, I really hope that movie does not get a
Wait.
sequel. What is your opinion?
Good call.
Like
Imani.
about Us.
Have you
I
seen
haven't-
Us?
No.
Okay.
I need to watch
Um,
Us.
You
and
haven't
Get
seen
Out.
Us?
No. I'm not gonna lie. I don't like horror movies. let me not say that. It's not that I don't like them. It's just that they scare me. So it's like,
But they're also like
What they're supposed to do,
horror.
right?
Every time I meet a horror movie fan like her,
Uh-huh.
like I literally just met her today, but they say they love horror movies, but they cannot watch it alone, like ever.
Yeah.
But they still enjoy the suspense of it, and like I guess
Yeah.
that feeling when you feel your spine shiver and stuff.
I think my thing about horror movies is that like psychological horror movies or like thrillers like get me in there, like get me, like, get me.
They're always getting like psychological horror movies. They're always having this like big plot twist
Yeah.
at the ending of the movie, and it kind of just keeps you thinking at the ending, and you're like, wait, what just happened?
So Kayla, what's one movie that you can think of that kind of describes the kind of horror movie that you like? Because for me, and maybe you guys, I'm hoping you guys have heard of this movie. Have you guys seen The Sixth Sense?
I've
Yeah.
heard of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that movie is considered to be kind of horror, but it also it's very psychological, and there's a huge plot twist like right at the end.
There's like this show on Netflix. I forgot what I think it was called Black Mirror or something.
Yeah, Black Mirror.
That's like
cool.
psychological, maybe.
Right.
If you could consider it like that.
No, it definitely is. Definitely.
So Kayla, do you have a movie?
The thing is why I was sitting over there, I wasn't on the mic, is because I don't really watch movies like that, so I didn't feel like I could have an informed conversation, but here I am having an informed
Right.
So
I guess it's kind of just your opinion.
Yeah. But it's just like, but clearly you have something to say, I feel like.
no, I definitely do. But about like psychological horror movies, because like I said, I don't watch movies like that, so I can't think of anything off the top of my head
Right.
that I could name. But the thing about horror movies for me is like the gore, like I can't do it. Like I just find that like no. Like the Terrifier is like I couldn't watch that. I don't care what the plot is, if it's the best plot in the world.
When I think of Terrifier, I always thought that it was just a movie where he just kills people and there's no story.
Right.
Like that's what it looks like to me.
Right.
Because it looks like a slasher film where he just kills people and you hope at least one character stays alive.
No,
and
I
they
could
die
definitely
anyways.
Agree. I'm pretty sure Terrifier is more of a slasher movie because there's not really much about
Plot.
Yeah,
He
there's
kind of
not
just
really
comes
a plot.
up and he kills like the first person. he
Yeah,
sees.
I was gonna ask you,
Yeah.
Imani, like, is there a story in Terrifier?
Okay, in the first Terrifier movie, like in the beginning, it just showed him like getting ready,
Right.
like putting on his killing stuff,
Mhm.
and then there
His
was these
gear,
two,
yeah.
his killing stuff.
Yeah.
There was these two girls on Halloween night that were just out. They
Right.
went into this pizza place. He followed them into the pizza place. He sat down and stared at them, and I guess that's when he realized those were his targets.
Right.
So
Interesting.
it just followed that the whole movie, like him going after them too.
So the movie is kind of like in his
Yeah.
perspective, like in his point of
I
view.
guess
Kind
that's what
of,
she
yeah.
meant because that's probably why it shows backgrounds.
Right,
Mhm.
right.
Because it's probably more from the perspective of Art,
of
the
him.
clown.
Right, right. Oh, that's the same Art.
Yeah, Art the Clown.
Okay. Interesting. Oh wow. You don't often get movies where you get the perspective of like the killer.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So that's different. I didn't know that about Terrifier.
Coming back to Nope.
Yeah, go
Because that's
ahead.
like the one thing that got her talking.
Yeah.
And I haven't watched that movie myself, but I heard it's like really, really good.
Yeah. It is a good movie. What like what me and Kayla were saying, or the question that I posed to Kayla about like maybe we don't consider Nope a horror movie,
More like a thriller.
but there are moments in that movie where I'm just like all right,
There's
like
horror elements.
like for me, nothing scared. There's two things that really scare me, right?
racism.
Three things that really scare me, right? Three things that really scare me, right? One is racism, but the other two is like zombies. Zombies
Oh,
really scare me.
yeah.
Like just the whole idea of like having to kill someone that I'm like really
28
close
days
to.
later.
Yeah.
That's a great movie.
28
Mhm.
weeks
Great
later.
movie.
Guys,
Mhm.
I have a question. Though.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
We're gonna trail off into like another 30-minute.
Let's do it.
But
Let's do
The
it.
Last of Us.
Oh,
Let
I
me-
literally just played that game 2 days ago.
The show.
You know what sucks though?
Yeah.
I played the game, but part 2,
Yeah.
people were talking about how like, I don't know, my brothers talked about how they don't like part 1
Mhm.
because of part 2 and what happens. I mean,
Interesting. Oh, right.
do you guys know much about, or did you just watch the show?
I watch people play both the games and I watch the show.
Yeah.
Okay, so you know the plot already and stuff. You?
I know what happens. I know why people dislike
Part
part
2.
2, the game, because obviously season 2 of the show hasn't
It's
dropped
coming
yet.
out.
Yeah.
But what sucks is,
Yeah. Which no spoilers, but like,
You can't spoil it.
I mean,
I kind of
it's
already,
free
I already
conversation.
talked about
we
Saw
can spoil
earlier.
it. We can spoil it. My whole thing. All right. So my whole thing with the show, and Kayla, jump in at any point. But my whole thing with the show, I'm just like, are y'all gonna kill Joel?
So when is it happening?
And when is it happening?
No.
Yeah. Like, are y'all gonna make that leap and kill him in the show? Because that's what happens in the game.
Because they are.
And he dies a really gruesome death
Mhm.
in the game.
Yeah.
So I just wonder if they're gonna stick
think-
true to the game.
That's why people did not like part 2. I remember hearing like a lot of opinions saying, "Oh, the story was not good, but the gameplay was amazing."
Yeah.
and that's why I won Game of the Year, maybe. But I don't know. Like part 2 and the way they killed Joel. Some people say they dumbed down his character
Right.
because he was way too trusting of Abby in the second
Yeah.
game,
Yeah.
and they jumped him in the middle of the night.
They don't.
Yeah. So I haven't played the second game. I just know the story, but I'm not quite sure like how things manifest themselves in the story. So, but that's what I hear, that Joel was like way too trusting in the second game
Because in the
to the
first
point
game,
where like Abby just
I don't know.
jumps
I
in the
played
middle
it
of the
like you play as Joel. He
Yeah.
could throw hands.
night. Right.
he
Yeah. So
got that like that old man strength, and
Yeah.
he like goes. I don't know how to describe it, but like he's not trusting
right.
like towards strangers or anybody, and he's ruthless. In the first game, he kills off that
Yeah.
black lady.
For-
I
for-
forgot her name. But Marlene, there you go. I forgot her name.
For you guys who have played the game or you've seen someone play the game, in comparison to the show, Imani, did you see the show by any chance?
I didn't fully watch it, but I've definitely seen like clips of it.
You've seen it. Okay. So for y'all that have seen or have played the game or have seen people play the game, do you feel like it was a good adaptation, the show, to the game?
I haven't watched the show.
You haven't seen the show.
I haven't seen
So
the show.
Kayla, it sounds like you're probably the only one that could answer this.
I think. Okay, don't like.
Don't shoot her.
Don't shoot me.
Right. Go on.
But,
You're about to go viral right now.
Just
Go ahead.
But I
Yeah.
think it is. Like
Yeah.
honestly, like from what I can remember about watching the game and like the show and the major stuff, like I think it was good. And I'm definitely tuning in for the second part. Like
Right.
I'm not like, oh, it's bad.
Right.
Some
right.
people, I remember seeing a clip of when Joel killed Marlene in the ending of the game.
Yeah.
She's like, "Wait, no, let me go," and he's like, "You just come after her," and then he just pops her head.
Right.
But someone said that in the show, he just goes on and like he just he turns off his emotions and he just goes into kill mode.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
in the game, he's just straight up angry.
Right.
Like you can hear the tone in his voice. But both, they're different, but they're still really, I don't know.
Like
Just-
similar.
Yeah, they're similar, but they're still very good in their own way.
Exactly.
It could be Joel in either situation.
That's actually a really
Good
that's
interpretation.
yeah, that's a good snapping moment right there. Good. That's really insightful, Steven. Thank you. Thank you. And Kayla, thank you for joining us too, because what you had to say is very insightful. too.
I forget the actor for Joel in Last of Us. I only remember
Pedro
him
Pascal.
as Mandalorian.
Yes, the Mandalorian. Yeah. Pedro Pascal.
I
He's
forget.
He's a good actor.
I forget we're talking about video games as well,
Yeah.
but that's besides the point.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pedro Pascal.
I want to go back. I know we keep going back to Nope real quick, but
But I want to talk about.
yeah, I
Nope
just
real
want to talk
quick.
about Nope real quick because as I was saying previously, right, and I was kind of,
Previous.
previously, I'm talking about, but no, I was directing this more so to Kayla because, so one of the things that really scares me, right, other than zombies and racism, is aliens, like extraterrestrials, right?
Yeah.
It does scare me.
And so, and I know Nope kind of has like, I'm going to go ahead and say it's an extraterrestrial, even though in the movie it's
mean-
kind of ambiguous as to like,
Yeah,
maybe
Isn't it
it's something
kind of
that's like,
based on
formed
the
here on
posters
the
that I've
Earth.
seen, it's kind of like it looks like a generic. Not no, wait, not generic, but like the poster, I see a alien
like a
spaceship.
saucer, right? So you got to watch the movie.
No, yeah, you gotta watch the movie because the entity is like it's like
Yeah.
like,
It's-
it's nothing you've ever seen. Before,
It's,
I
I don't
It
even
kind of
wanna-
reminds me of like Quiet Place and stuff.
Yeah, the Quiet Place.
Like how
Quiet
it's like
Place
a,
is cool.
it's like a, not a, like you'd say it's an alien because it's just a different life form. but
Right.
they're all different, I guess.
I think what's interesting about Nope and what kind of scares me even more when I think about it, right, is like the movie kind of makes it a point to, not that it makes it a point, but you can infer as the audience when you're watching this movie that maybe this thing that's in the air might not be an alien. Like it might be something that came from the actual Earth itself. So to me, that's kind of scary because I'm just like
how like people say like ice caps are melting and then like there's like a like some type
some
of
behemoth
creature
beast that's
like
lurking
frozen.
underneath. Yeah,
Right?
Yeah. And with Nope, it's like there's this thing in the sky that's been there for God knows how long, but it's there and it's the Earth is its home. Like it's not something that's come from outer space or anything like that. It is kind of a spoiler. but that's kind of like, I think that idea is so like original. Like that is such like an original idea, you know? And I think when I think about it even more, I'm just like, that's scary. Like that's scary to me to know that
because it was always here.
Exactly.
It's not that it just came here.
And then I start thinking about how like, I know I'm about to go on like a wild tangent right now, but like I start thinking about how, you know, scientists know less about our oceans
like
than they do about like
how
outer
they
space.
say we've only
you know
explored like 5% of our ocean and stuff.
Yeah. And so in my head I'm just
who
like,
knows what's down
what
there?
lurks down there. Yeah. And so I feel like that with Nope, it kind of plays with that idea where it's just like as much about the Earth that you think you know about it, there are some things here that we are still completely clueless about. And who's to say that one of those things just happens to be some weird entity that's flying around in the
Hey man, I'm trying to go to sleep
sky.
tonight.
Right. All right. But I think that's a good way to kind of end our podcasting conversation. Thank you so much, guys, for being a part of it. Kayla, thank you so much for coming in and doing a little cameo. We really appreciate it. Hopefully we'll be back here in 2 weeks to talk about more so Halloween related things.
Yay.
Oh no, we definitely will.
Yeah. So hopefully you guys will be back.
You think Walking Dead counts?
Yeah, for sure.
All
All right.
I need
All
to
right.
watch the show.
Thank you so much, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.